Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Before I do anything, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Okay, so I wanted to take a little detour from some of the hard-hitting factual things that I've been giving you lately. They've, it's the truth. What can I say? I don't want to sugarcoat any of it. The Italian dream is still alive. And in fact, I wanted to give you the 5 reasons that we are still staying in Italy despite all the ups and downs that we've had. There's so many reasons to stay, but really the first reason that I think is the most important is the community. Now, the reason we started Super Savvy, 4 or 5 years ago, was because when Pete and I arrived in Calabria, we were welcomed with open arms by the locals. They were absolutely lovely and just rolled out the red carpet for us. Made us feel at home, here's where you find this, just help everywhere you go. And we loved it. And we wanted to share that with other people who we wanted to bring in. Now, to let you know, I did have conversations with the mayor and with Antonello, who happens to be the mayor's brother. He's the architect there. He's the one that redid the church and everything after he came back, a big labor of love that took 10 years. And his brother happens to be the mayor. So we sat down with them and we said, what do you guys want from us? We got this channel. It seems to be popular. What do you want? And they said, bring in more Americans. And so we did. But my point is that when we got there, I didn't speak that much Italian, but the love and the outpouring of support and welcome and everything that we found there, plus the beauty of Calabria. I mean, it's an absolutely stunning area. And to be honest with you, the Calabrian people are super warm and welcoming. So there's really so much to love about that. And we found that in Puglia, we found that in Tuscany. We make friends everywhere we go, and it's so easy. And I'll give you one example. I was in the train station in Milan. It's one of my first trips by myself. I had gone up to Cremona to meet friends there, and then had to go from Milan to Cremona. And so I stuck my bank card in the machine to get a train ticket, and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, oh no, I got to get on a train, I got to get a ticket, all of these things going through my mind. And this beautiful lady behind me stood up and she put her card in the machine, and it was an €8 ticket to get me from Milan to Cremona. And I said, oh, I did have cash. That's right, but the cash machine wouldn't accept it. So I said, here, take this cash. I was going to give her $8. No, signora, regalo. It was a gift. And I was like, you don't even know me, and you're giving me, you bailed me out because I couldn't make the machine work, and then you refused to accept payment for it. I mean, that to me, I just was, you almost cry when you see kindness like that. And that's what it's like. Really all over Italy, we found that with so many people. And that is something that you can't trade for a price. It doesn't matter what you pay for your house or whatever, that's the community that you want. And we have loved it since we got there. Now, the second thing is, of course, the food. The food in Italy is so good. There's, it is very well protected over there. They know that one of their sources of strength, of nourishment, and nourishment for the soul is really good food. And when you look at it, their mozzarella di bufala, which is so fresh and so delicious, their fresh produce, and the products like Chianina beef, in the Val di Chiana, where we are in Tuscany, the best beef in the world, really, I think. I mean, I haven't been all over the world, but I will say it's pretty darn good. In addition, I noticed that their pastries and things are not that sweet, and you can find them anywhere. A couple of things that really surprised me. The first visit over there with Pete, I had to make him like Italy because I wanted to get a place over there, and he was not sold at all. So we stopped at the train station. We were heading down to Calabria, and I said, okay, well, I'll just get a couple panini and then head down there and have a great dinner. So I got these panini, and they were made with fresh bread that probably was delivered that morning, super fresh mozzarella di bufala and prosciutto, and a little bit of basil in there too, which was like such a great touch. Pete still talks about them. He still remembers those panini. And then there was another time we were in Sopri, and we were hungry. We were going to head home on the train, Sopri's beautiful, by the way, in Basilicata, very lovely town. And so we stopped at the bar by the train station, and they had this little pastry there. It looked like a clamshell called sfogliatella. Now, those of you who have been down in the south or Naples or whatever, you know what sfogliatella is, and it's fabulous. Anyway, so I get this bag, I'm not sure, I thought it was just a crunchy, crispy little something that would get us through. No, it's heavy and it was warm. And I looked in the bag and the smell came out and I'm like, oh my goodness. And what it is, it's like ricotta, a little bit of sugar and some, maybe some lemony. I don't know what all they put in the filling of the sfogliatella, but it was the best thing I've ever tasted. I mean, really, we split it and we're just like, we can't believe what we just experienced. It was unbelievable. And those are the train stations, and the bars and things like that. So even the street food, you go to Rome, there's a place in Rome where we like to stop that has a little window, where you get a little panino and you walk around with it or whatever. Street food is fabulous in Rome. It's fabulous, and Naples. I mean, anywhere you go, they have amazing street food. And their food is not full of chemicals. Like if you buy chips over there, you look and in America, like Doritos, right? Here's your chemical list of all the things in the Doritos in the US. Well, here's your list of all the things in the Doritos in Italy and possibly the EU. Not a lot of stuff that's bad for you. And I noticed that my digestion really improves when I arrive in Italy. And when I'm in the US, I have to be very careful about what I eat. Another reason that we love Italy is there's so much history there. And now that we're in Tuscany, we live in a little hill town, medieval hill town, been around since the 1300s. And you still get that feeling of history. You walk through and sometimes you smell a little damp from the stones and you're like, wow, this is just like it was back in the 1300s. I mean, they very purposefully kept it the same way. And then when you're outside and you're walking in toward the village, I mean, all those brick houses up there, they're just exactly the same as they were. And there's a lot of events that celebrate the history, celebrate the personalities that made the history. And one of these churches that I went into, in Torrita di Siena, there's a church in there. And I went in and I saw this beautiful, carved frieze there. And I couldn't believe that it was in the church right around the corner, that you could walk in and see this magnificent work of art. Unbelievable. There are works of art and there are works of art. There was other works of art in the church and they were all very beautiful and you do feel a sense of spiritual revival and refreshment when you see them. But when you see something like this, you're like, oh, I am in the presence of greatness. And you really can't take your eyes off of it. So, you see that all over. You never know when you're going to turn into a place like when we were in Florence last, when we were buying our house in Torrita. The house owner, they were so cute, so cute. Okay, so after the act, I said, okay, you guys come, we're going to have a lunch. It's on me. I'm buying. And the owner said, oh, no. I'm the one with the money now. I'm buying. So he bought us lunch and then we took a walk. Of course, you take a little walk afterwards and he goes, hey, come in here. And it wasn't even a church. It was like a little museum-y space, but what it was, there was a fresco there. And I don't remember who the artist was. I'll have to go back and look at my notes, but the fresco was magnificent. The details on it, just as fresh as the day it was painted. And I had to go, it took a whole wall, right? And I had to look at every little detail, just to take it all in. It was unbelievable. And he's like, you're never going to see this on any of these tourist maps or anything like that. There's so much to see in Florence, right? You're going to see all the Michelangelos and the David. And then you've got all these other museums and the Uffizi Gallery. There's so much art there. But this was a special surprise. So, you walk in and you see these things, takes you right back to the Renaissance, which is one of my favorite periods in history. I've studied a lot on the Renaissance because I just love that period. I love the idea that all the best minds were in one place, thanks to Lorenzo de' Medici, who brought them all there, who was the benefactor for Michelangelo and had the humanist movement and all of those guys. It was an incredibly explosive time for art, for philosophy, for just brilliant minds. It was just wonderful. And I think that's what makes Florence so special for me. I know Florence is Florence and it's got great art and great shopping and of course, great handbags and everything else. But for me, that is the birthplace of the Renaissance, which is my favorite part about it. Now, another thing that makes Italy great is the scenery. And, Italy is about the size of California, maybe, more or less the size of California, but it's so diverse. You've got up north, you've got Venice, you got the areas around the Dolomite, which are so beautiful. amazing mountain roads and gorgeousness and alpine hills. And then you come down a little farther, and then you've got places like Bologna and those places. And you've got the sea there on both sides, which is fabulous. And you can go anywhere. You can go to the Amalfi Coast and see some beautiful views and culture and everything. And the lemons, I mean, gosh, just all along the coast there, the citrus is just unbelievable. But then you get down to Calabria, where you have these mountains that just like you could almost see them erupting, because you see them and they're all, level, and like a big rock will be coming up out of nowhere. Orso Marso is a great place to see this, because all of a sudden this rock goes and suddenly it's part of the landscape. And the Pollino National Park, which really takes up a lot of Calabria, is the most beautiful park in the world. And I used to look out in the back of our village and I'd watch the mountains turn from a little dusky gray and then super bright, and then toward evening they turned purple and pink, and it was the most spectacular thing to ever see. So the landscape, and then of course you've got the sea there, which I don't even need to talk about. It's crystal blue. It's all different colors. I think a lot of the blues that I do, I'm working on another art piece. You can see these blues, these sea blues are my favorite thing. And when you open your windows and you see the sea out there, there's just nothing like it. So the landscape is really something that, you can go see just about anything, and so different, so diverse, but always so beautiful. The other thing is the vibe. Oh my gosh, everybody loves the Italian vibe, from the Vespas, beep, beep, ciao. And the cappuccini, the coffees in the morning, noon, and night, actually. Standing up, having your little bitter cafe in the morning, and then, everybody running off to their corners of wherever they're doing commerce or whatever they're working on. The bars, which are not bars, they're basically coffee shops. They're cafes, but they're called bars. It's the bar. You go into the bar, you can get a drink if you want to. You can get sodas, you can get Schweppes al limone, which is one of my favorites, and you can also get coffee in the morning, and usually that's kind of what they sell the most, is coffee and cornetti, and coffee and cornetti, okay? Now, you can get cornetti, which are croissant. Basically, they're croissant. You can get them filled with chocolate. You can get them filled with cream, which is my favorite. You can get them filled with pistachio goo. That's also very good. But my favorite was when I went to Vulare Sicilienne in Scalea. And she said, oh, you don't need a plain, because I always go, oh, cornetto voto, an empty cornetto. Just give me a plain one. No, you can't have that. How about I fill it with ricotta cheese? I said, okay, I'm thinking cheesy. Oh, no. Now, let me just tell you about Vulare Sicilienne in Scalea. You have to go there because they have the best cannoli anywhere in the world. First of all, it's this big, like a little rolled up newspaper, It's huge. And inside is the most delicious ricotta filling you've ever had. And I've had ricotta, cannoli here in the States. Always get that bitter tang, a little unpleasantness, a little aftertaste that makes you go, not my favorite. Not so. The ricotta cheese that she uses is just local. It's made locally. It's just as sweet as it can be, just on its own. She adds a little sweetness. She adds a little, maybe a little citrus, maybe a little like allspice. I don't know what kind of spices or whatever she puts in, but they're just heaven in a little cannolo cookie shell. They're just so good. And don't ask for a fork, because she won't give it to you. No, we don't eat cannoli with a fork. You have to use your hands. She will not give you a fork. And if she sees you using it, you're going to be in big trouble. So that's my tip for the best cannoli in the world, is go see Ilenia at Vulare Sicilienne in Scalea. But the vibe, down along the beaches, you got the beach vibes, you got the beach clubs, everybody partying into the late night, loud, colorful, glittery. These are my people, I love glitter, I love bright colors, I love intense experiences. And in Italy, that's what you get. And that is the vibe. And it's iconic. It is ubiquitous, and it's always going to be that way. So many reasons to be in Italy, visit Italy, move to Italy, get a vacation home in Italy. Italy feeds your soul. It feeds your sense of community. It brings you back from the harsh realities and the hard edges of life, back to what's really, really important, and that is connection and experience. And that's what I always talk about. So there you go. That's why we're still there. And that's why we keep telling everybody, you got to come to Italy. You got to experience this. So there you go, guys. See you soon.